So maybe you already know I'll be teaching a section of ninth grade next year to help a local school fill a hole. Want to know what I was doing at 11 p.m. the night after I agreed to this role? Guess. If you guessed I was already working on my classroom library, you are so right. So let's talk about first steps for my library and maybe, if you're thinking of starting one of your own, for yours. Welcome to the Spark Creativity Teacher Podcast, a podcast for English teachers looking for more creativity, more engagement, more joy, and no more scripted curriculum, lesson planning ruts, or boring book lists. I'm Betsy Potash, and I'm honored you're trusting me to help. You're not alone on this creative journey anymore. My first stop that night was Facebook Marketplace to look for bookshelves, of which there were many, in all sizes, shapes, and prices. During my quest online for these bookshelves, I also found a lot of books for sale posts. However, I only wanted a few titles in the stacks I saw, and it didn't seem worth arranging pickup for 2 or 3 books from each person, even though they were inexpensive. I knew I didn't want to buy anything that I didn't already know was going to be an absolute gem, because that's my philosophy with my classroom library. I want fewer books that I can really stand behind and not tons of books that I feel medium about. So my second stop was thrift books online, where the books were also inexpensive, like on Facebook Marketplace, but they could be shipped right to me. There, I began filling my cart with wild abandon, I admit it. My third stop was Project Lit to see what new titles had come out lately and made a big splash in student reading programs that I might have missed. I like to peruse the Project Lit Instagram for the most current ideas, so that's what I did. I added a few more books to my list at Thrift Books after that. I admit that at that point I went to bed. The lists on my little glowing screen in my darkened house were starting to look a bit blurry. But of course, the project continued the next day and the next. I revisited some of my favorite libraries from podcast guests past: C.J. Reynolds' library, Megan Fairchild's library, and Pernille Rip's library. I'm going to drop photos in the full show notes because I really want you to see these gorgeous libraries. I realized that in my ideal world, I actually wanted to hang picture ledges like Pernille Rip, so I could get my covers facing out and add fun little pop-out bookmarks with recommendation blurbs that would show. I'm not totally sure yet whether this is going to be viable, like what kind of studs are going to be in the wall of my new classroom, but I did take a look at the new classroom and identified a wall that would be good for it if I can figure it out. But I also have those many bookshelf options at Facebook Marketplace if not. And of course, I can get book stands, which I have already ordered, to stand up books covers out inside bookshelves too. So that's where I am for now. As summer begins, this classroom library will be coming together more and more as school gets closer, but I feel good about having some things ordered, some general concepts in my mind before I get into the classroom. I'll be working on a classroom mood board, and that'll help me more with kind of colors and spacing and how everything is going to be coming together. And I'll be on the hunt throughout the summer for books, flexible seating options. I'll be printing posters, rereading, and pre-reading to choose my favorite first chapters, photocopying first chapter Friday sketch note sheets, designing display options. I was working on a dystopia display yesterday, and more. How about you? My first 3 stops are a great way to get started. Snag a cheap shelf from Facebook Marketplace or put up some thin wooden picture ledges using just boards from Home Depot. Find a few gems on thrift books and take a look around at bookish elements that you enjoy when you're in other spaces this summer. You might find inspiration on social media, at bookstores, at libraries, in your friends' classrooms, in your friends' living rooms. Kind of keeping your classroom library on the back burner in your mind is going to put you in a great position to assemble or upgrade your library in fun ways come August. By the way, speaking of come August, this year's Camp Creative is going to be really special. We'll be going back to school together, getting our classrooms ready, prepping for back to school night, day one, that important first unit together, building our classroom library together. If you care to join me for this fun and free PD, I am going to pop the link to sign up in the show notes today. All the resources come straight to your inbox completely asynchronously. So it doesn't matter if you're on a cruise during the last week of July when we're having Camp Creative. It doesn't matter if you will be, at baseball family camp with your children. Whatever you're doing is okay because you can open up all the materials whenever you're free. However, campers do say they love the conversation and idea sharing that happens during the live online community that runs all week during camp. So you can choose your own path. You can go totally async. You can look at the resources during the week and participate in the conversations in the community. It's totally up to you, but be sure to sign up because if you don't, you won't have access to any of it when everything kicks off at the end of July. And I want you to because I think it's going to be so fun. Okay, my friend, until next time, take care of yourself and stay creative.